Have you ever noticed how some people drain your energy the moment they walk into the room? What if respecting yourself in front of toxic people isn't about fighting back, but about mastering your inner balance? Welcome to Heng Mindset, where wisdom meets self-mastery. I'm Heng, and today we'll explore how to respect yourself in front of toxic people without losing your peace. Have you ever wondered why so many people lose their sense of self when they stand in front of those who drain their energy? It's not the words of others that truly hurt us. It's the moment we begin to believe them. When you forget your own worth, you give silent permission for others to define it for you. Knowing your inner value means recognizing that the source of your strength does not exist outside of you. It's not in the approval of others, not in recognition, not even in kindness returned. It lives in the quiet understanding that you are complete as you are. The opinions of others are echoes. They bounce off the surface of your being, but they do not shape the mountain within. Every time you stand tall in your awareness, the echo loses power. People often confuse respect with pleasing others. They think that by saying yes, by being agreeable, by not causing conflict, they are being respectful. But there is no true respect in denying yourself. Respecting yourself is an inner act. It's invisible to others but deeply felt by you. When someone throws negativity at you, the first instinct is to defend, to prove, to explain. But what if you didn't need to? What if the calm in your eyes was the answer? Those who carry chaos within them crave reaction because reaction feeds their emptiness. The moment you refuse to feed it, you win a silent battle. The world doesn't teach us this kind of strength. It teaches us to speak louder, to argue, to prove we are right. But wisdom teaches the opposite. True power is not loud. It doesn't need to shout. It stands quietly, anchored in certainty. Knowing your inner value means you no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You don't bend to fit into their idea of who you should be. You walk into a room not to be accepted, but to express authenticity. There is a difference between arrogance and confidence. Arrogance needs others to feel small. Confidence simply is. It doesn't compete. It doesn't chase. It doesn't justify. When you know who you are, toxic energy can no longer reach you, because it has nowhere to attach. The arrows they throw find no target. The insults lose their shape before they reach you because your peace dissolves them. And then comes silence. Many people fear silence. They think silence means weakness, surrender, or submission. But silence is power in its purest form. The one who can stay silent while others lose control is not avoiding conflict. They are mastering it. Every unnecessary word you release in anger is an arrow you fire at your own peace. Every time you stay silent with awareness, you train your inner warrior. Silence doesn't mean you agree. It means you choose not to engage at a lower level. When someone shouts, provokes, or manipulates, the silence between your breaths becomes a wall they cannot climb. When you are silent, you listen differently. You begin to hear what lies behind the words, the fear, the insecurity, the projection. Toxic people often speak from pain they cannot face. Their noise is a mask hiding their wounds. When you listen without reacting, you start to see clearly it's not about you. It never was. You become an observer, and from that state you see the pattern unfold. Their anger seeks control. Your silence denies it. Your calm becomes their mirror, showing them what they've lost. And sometimes that reflection will disturb them more than any argument ever could. But silence is not the same as suppression. It's not swallowing emotions and pretending they don't exist. It's an active, conscious stillness, a pause between thought and action. In that pause, you choose your response instead of reacting blindly. You might feel the anger rise, the urge to defend, the impulse to strike back, but you breathe. And in that breath, you remember, my peace is worth more than my pride. Every time you master that pause, you grow in strength. You stop being a puppet to the emotions of others and start becoming the master of your own energy. Then there is another layer, observation. To observe means to stand outside the storm without being pulled into it. Most people absorb energy without realizing it. They walk into a room filled with tension, and within minutes, they carry that tension within themselves. They talk to someone angry, and soon their heart beats faster too. Energy moves invisibly, and if you are unaware, you will become a container for others' emotions. But when you observe consciously, you remain untouched. You notice the tension, but you don't claim it. You see their anger, but you don't let it live inside you. Imagine standing in a river. The water rushes past, sometimes calm, sometimes violent. You can fight against it, or you can stand still and let it flow around you. Observation is that stillness. You watch emotions pass without resistance. You acknowledge, you understand, but you don't hold. This is how you protect your inner world. When you absorb, you suffer with them. When you observe, you learn from them. And learning gives you freedom. The secret lies in awareness. Every toxic word, every manipulation, every attempt to pull you into negativity, it's all a test of awareness. The more aware you are, the less you need to defend. You start seeing through people instead of being blinded by their behavior. Their words no longer sting because you recognize them as projections of their pain. You stop taking things personally. And when nothing is personal, everything becomes peaceful. You might ask, but what if their behavior continues? What if they push harder? Then you push deeper, not outward, but inward. You return to your breath, your posture, your presence. You let their noise meet your silence. Toxic energy cannot survive where awareness is strong. It loses grip because it feeds on reaction, and you offer none. Over time, those who seek to control you will drift away because you no longer give them what they want, your energy. Observation teaches compassion too. When you see someone acting from pain, you begin to feel understanding instead of resentment. That doesn't mean you allow disrespect. It means you respond from wisdom, not from wounds. Compassion allows you to stay calm without becoming cold. You protect your boundaries without closing your heart. In this balance lies true respect. Respect for yourself and even for the brokenness of others. You no longer need to prove anything because your peace proves it all. The more you know your inner value, the less the world can take from you. The more silent you become in awareness, the louder your presence speaks. And the more you observe without absorbing, the freer you become from the chaos of others. Each encounter with toxic energy becomes a mirror for your own mastery. Every time you remain calm, where once you would have reacted, you are winning an invisible battle within. This is not about being better than others. It's about becoming unshakable within yourself. When you reach that state, no one can truly disrespect you, because respect is no longer something you seek. It's something you embody. And so, when you find yourself surrounded by noise, remember, you are not the noise. You are the stillness behind it. You are the mountain that stands unmoved as storms come and go. Those who shout, gossip, manipulate, they only reveal the turmoil they carry. You don't need to join them. Just stay still, aware and grounded. Let their words pass like wind through open space. Nothing sticks to awareness. In that state, your presence alone becomes your defense. You don't fight, you don't justify, you simply are, and that is enough. The one who knows their worth, masters their silence, and observes without absorbing becomes untouchable, unshakable, and deeply at peace. Energy. It is the invisible language that speaks before words ever form. Every place, every person, every thought carries it. You can feel it when you walk into a room, the heaviness or the calm, the tension or the warmth. Some energies lift you, others drain you until your spirit feels caged. To move through this world with awareness means learning to sense energy the way a musician hears harmony. You must feel it, not think it. When you stand near someone toxic, you will notice a subtle shift in your body first, a tightening of the chest, a heaviness behind the eyes. a discomfort in your stomach. Your body is the first to know what your mind refuses to see. It whispers, "Protect your energy," long before the words begin. Most people ignore these signals. They stay in conversations that exhaust them, entertain people who belittle them, and then wonder why they feel depleted. Energy awareness is the art of listening to your inner compass. It is not selfish to protect it, it is essential. When your energy is low, your perception narrows. You start reacting rather than responding, absorbing rather than observing. You lose clarity, and toxic people thrive in that fog. But when your energy is guarded, you become light itself. You walk into darkness and remain untouched. Awareness begins with stillness. Before you speak, before you act, pause and feel your energy. Where is it moving? Is it rising or shrinking? Is it calm or disturbed? This moment of awareness creates choice. You can decide whether to engage or to step back. Sometimes protection means silence. Sometimes it means distance. Sometimes it means smiling gently while walking away. Protecting your energy does not mean building walls. It means creating space for peace to live. There will be moments when others try to pull you into their storm. They will provoke, guilt, or manipulate, hoping to make you react. But if you understand your own vibration, you will see through it. You will feel the shift immediately, and instead of reacting, you will breathe. In that breath, you claim your power back. You do not match their chaos, you maintain your rhythm. The stronger your awareness, the less you need to defend yourself. People often confuse energy protection with isolation. But it is not about cutting the world off. It is about filtering what enters. Just like your body filters air, your mind must filter energy. When you spend time with those who radiate peace, your own energy expands. When you linger around those who dwell in bitterness, your energy contracts. This is not judgment, it is physics. Everything vibrates. Energy seeks resonance. The more aware you become, the more consciously you will choose your surroundings, because you will see how every environment shapes your state. This is where invisible boundaries come into play. Many people think boundaries must be spoken, declared, or even argued, but true boundaries need no announcement. They live in your energy, not your words. People can feel when they cannot cross a line with you, even if you never mention it. They sense it in the way you carry yourself, the calm in your eyes, the firmness in your presence. It's like standing before a wall of quiet strength. You don't need to say don't. They already know. Invisible boundaries are built through self-respect. The more you honor your energy, the more naturally others will honor it too. When someone disrespects you, you don't fight for respect, you withdraw your energy. That withdrawal speaks louder than any confrontation. Your absence becomes your statement. When you no longer feed what disrespects you, it starves. This is not coldness, it is wisdom. The strongest warriors do not fight every battle. They choose where their energy is worthy of being spent. Some will try to test these boundaries. They will push, prod, or guilt you, trying to make you feel responsible for their emotions. But remember, you are not responsible for the storms others create. You are responsible for how long you choose to stand in the rain. Invisible boundaries are about knowing when to step aside and let the storm pass without you. You can care for someone deeply and still refuse to let their chaos invade your peace. You will notice that people who carry light energy rarely explain themselves. They don't justify, defend, or chase understanding. Their boundary is silent but firm. It says, "I value my peace more than your approval." When you embody that, people start treating you differently. The toxic lose their grip. They sense that their manipulation no longer works. The respectful grow closer because your energy feels safe. You become like a still lake, beautiful, reflective, but impossible to disturb. And then comes the art of detachment. Many misunderstand detachment as indifference. It is not about not caring. It's about caring correctly. You can love someone without carrying their pain. You can understand someone's darkness without letting it dim your light. Detachment is love without suffering, empathy without loss of self. It is the realization that everyone must walk their own path, and no matter how much you wish to guide or heal them, you cannot walk it for them. When you are attached, you take ownership of what is not yours. You try to fix, prove, or please. You drain your own energy trying to change someone who thrives on your reaction. But detachment frees you. It allows you to see clearly. Their behavior is their journey, not your reflection. You stop asking, why are they like this? And start asking, why does this affect me? That shift transforms everything. To detach, you must return to presence. Toxic people live in projection. They throw their past pain onto others and call it truth. But when you stay present, you do not accept the projection. You see it as energy being passed along, and you decide not to carry it forward. You let it end with you. That is how cycles of toxicity dissolve, through awareness, not resistance. Imagine standing in front of someone who tries to provoke you. They insult, mock, or belittle. The old version of you would respond immediately, anger for anger, wound for wound. But the detached version watches calmly. You feel their words pass through the air, yet they find nothing inside you to cling to. Their chaos meets emptiness. That emptiness is not weakness, it is power. Because when you are detached, you no longer offer emotional fuel. The fire burns itself out. Detachment is not something you practice once, it's something you live. Every encounter becomes an opportunity to choose peace over reaction. Sometimes detachment looks like silence, other times like walking away. Sometimes it's smiling while saying no. The world might call it cold, but you know it's clarity. Because when you detach from the need to control outcomes, you gain control over yourself. Many people fear detachment because they believe it leads to loneliness, but in truth, it leads to freedom. You stop chasing connection built on pain and start creating connection built on peace. You no longer cling to people who deplete you because your sense of completeness no longer depends on them. You love without expectation, you give without resentment, and you walk away without guilt. This freedom is not about walls, it's about space. Space to think, to breathe, to feel without drowning. When you detach from toxic energy, you create room for your soul to expand. The noise fades, and in that quiet, you rediscover your own voice. You realize that self-respect was never about controlling others' behavior. It was about controlling your own alignment. Sometimes the lesson arrives disguised as pain. You meet someone who drains your light, and you wonder why life placed them in your path. But every toxic encounter is a mirror. It shows you where you still give away your power. It teaches you what parts of yourself still seek validation, still fear rejection, still doubt your worth. When you detach, you no longer curse these encounters. You thank them, for they reveal where you are still learning to respect yourself. Energy awareness, invisible boundaries, and detachment are not separate ideas. They are one continuous flow. Awareness teaches you to feel when your peace is being disturbed. Boundaries give you the courage to protect it. Detachment allows you to release what is not yours. Together, they form the armor of the soul, not made of steel but of stillness. Every day offers practice. When someone complains endlessly, notice how your energy responds. When someone manipulates, notice the pull in your chest. When someone tries to control you through guilt, notice the tightening in your breath. Awareness transforms these moments into mastery. You no longer live unconsciously absorbing the emotions of others. You live as a conscious being who chooses what enters your space. And when you do slip because you will, you do not punish yourself. You simply observe. I let that energy in, you say. Now I release it. That simple act keeps your spirit clean. You begin to treat your inner world the way you would treat a sacred temple. You would not allow anyone to walk in with muddy feet. So why allow toxic thoughts, words, or energies to enter uninvited? The deeper you go into this practice, the more sensitive you become to energy, but not in a fragile way. Sensitivity becomes your strength. You can feel darkness without fearing it. You can stand among chaos and remain centered. Others will notice. They will feel something different about you, even if they cannot explain it. That difference is your frequency. It is the quiet confidence of someone who no longer wastes energy proving their worth. The journey of self-respect is not about isolation. It is about liberation. You start to realize that peace is not found in avoiding toxic people, but in mastering yourself so deeply that their toxicity cannot reach you. When you master energy awareness, you can walk anywhere, meet anyone, and remain whole. When you live with invisible boundaries, you teach the world how to treat you without saying a word. When you detach from the chaos of others, you rise beyond it, not above them, but beyond the level where conflict exists. And then something miraculous happens. The very people who once drained you begin to change in your presence. Your calm becomes contagious. Your silence makes them reflect. Some will resist it and fade away. Others will awaken to it and grow beside you. You do not force either outcome, you simply remain grounded in your energy. Every breath becomes a reminder, this is my space, my peace, my life. No one enters without alignment. Every thought becomes a guardian. Does this thought lift me or lower me? Every encounter becomes a test of vibration. Does this energy expand me or shrink me? And with each conscious choice, your life transforms. Energy cannot be seen, but it can be felt. Boundaries cannot always be spoken, but they can be sensed. Detachment cannot be explained, but it can be lived. These are the silent arts of inner mastery, the arts that make you untouchable not by force, but by presence. When you live this way, respect is not something you demand. It is something the world naturally gives back, because it recognizes in you what it has forgotten in itself, peace that cannot be shaken. When someone challenges your peace, the first impulse that rises inside you is reaction. It comes like a spark, sudden, hot, demanding to be expressed. You feel the sting of their words, the sharp pull of injustice, the urge to respond, to prove, to defend. But between that impulse and your action lies a sacred space, small but infinite. Inside that space lives your power. When you learn to step into it, you stop being controlled by the energy of others and begin to command your own. Responding, not reacting, is the difference between being a master of your mind and a prisoner of your emotions. Reaction is instinct. Response is awareness. The world trains you to react quickly, loudly, emotionally, but awareness teaches you to pause. That pause is not weakness. It's intelligence disguised as stillness. When someone throws anger your way, your mind races to strike back to reclaim dignity. But in truth, you lose nothing by being silent. You lose nothing by breathing before you speak. You lose nothing by observing the emotion rise and fall within you. What you gain is clarity. Reaction comes from the ego that wants to win. Response comes from wisdom that understands there is nothing to prove. Every time you choose not to react, you dissolve the chain that toxic people try to bind you with. They feed on reaction. It's the fuel that keeps their drama alive. Without it, their control fades. You become unpredictable, untouchable. They shout, but you stay calm. They provoke, but you stay centered. They cannot handle silence, because silence reflects their chaos back to them. The more you master the pause, the less they can control you. You start to see the game for what it is, a desperate attempt to pull you into their vibration. Think of your emotions like waves. When you react, you are swept away. When you respond, you surf. You rise above the motion using awareness to stay balanced. This requires discipline. The discipline to stay conscious when everything inside you wants to explode. The discipline to breathe instead of break. It is not about suppression. It's about mastery. Suppression hides emotion. Mastery transforms it. You feel the same fire, but instead of letting it burn you, you let it forge you. The one who can stay calm in the middle of chaos commands the battlefield of life. Every insult, every betrayal, every manipulation becomes a test of your stillness. You will fail sometimes, you will react, you will lose control. But each failure teaches you how easily your peace can be stolen when you are unaware. Over time, you begin to see the pattern before it begins. You sense the energy shift before the words are spoken. That is growth. That is the warrior's intuition awakening. Then comes the deeper lesson. Sometimes your most powerful response is no response at all. Silence is not empty, it is full of truth. It says everything that words cannot. When you walk away without explaining, the message is clear. I value my peace more than this conflict. And in that choice, you set a standard that others can feel, even if they never understand it. Silence is a shield, not a retreat. It protects what is sacred within you. There will be moments when silence will feel heavy, when every part of you wants to justify or defend. But remember, what is real does not need defending. Lies collapse under their own weight. Truth stands even in silence. You don't need to prove what already is. You just need to be it. When you stay quiet in your strength, those who live in noise will start to question themselves. That is the invisible victory, winning without fighting. Sometimes, however, the greatest form of self-respect is distance. There is a kind of walking away that does not come from anger, but from clarity. It is the quiet realization that not every connection deserves continuation. You don't abandon people, you release energy that no longer aligns with your growth. You can wish someone peace while removing them from your path. You can love someone deeply and still recognize that their presence disturbs your balance. Walking away is not weakness. It is an act of profound strength because it requires you to choose discomfort over decay. Staying in toxic energy may feel familiar, but familiarity is not safety. Growth often demands departure. The world will tell you to forgive endlessly, to endure endlessly, to tolerate endlessly. But there comes a moment when self-respect whispers, enough. That whisper is sacred. It's not bitterness, it's awakening. Distance teaches you what silence cannot. It gives you space to see clearly. When you step back from someone who drains you, you begin to notice how your energy shifts in their absence. Your body feels lighter, your thoughts sharper, your sleep deeper. That clarity is not coincidence, it's your soul breathing freely again. Many people misunderstand distance as punishment, but it is protection. You are not punishing them, you are preserving you. To walk away with grace means to release without resentment. You don't slam doors, you close them softly, knowing that peace does not require noise. You don't curse their name, you bless the lesson they brought. Because every person who tests your peace teaches you something about your power. Some show you how strong you are, others show you where you still need to grow. Either way, you win if you walk away with wisdom instead of wounds. Sometimes, the hardest distance is not physical but emotional. You can share the same space with someone yet be miles apart internally. You can choose not to engage, not to argue, not to feed the cycle. Detachment begins here, in the quiet decision that their words no longer have ownership of your emotions. You hear them, but they don't echo inside you. You see them, but you don't lose yourself trying to fix them. That's not indifference, it's self-protection through awareness. And yet, amidst all this protection, there is another truth: compassion. Compassion is not letting toxic people walk all over you. It is understanding that their behavior is born of pain. They project their suffering because they don't know how to heal it. When you see this, you stop taking things personally. Their cruelty becomes a reflection of their chaos, not your character. Compassion allows you to stay kind without being naive. It allows you to see through their anger to the wound beneath it. But compassion must walk hand in hand with boundaries. Without boundaries, compassion turns into self-destruction. You cannot heal others by sacrificing yourself. You can offer understanding, but not at the cost of your energy. You can feel empathy, but not at the cost of your peace. True compassion is strong, not soft. It says, I understand why you hurt, but I will not join you in that hurt. That is love with wisdom. Many people believe that compassion means staying close, continuing to give, continuing to forgive. But real compassion sometimes means letting people face the consequences of their actions. You don't shield them from truth, you allow them to meet it. Because some lessons can only be learned through silence and separation. When you keep saving someone from their own darkness, you prevent their awakening. Compassion sometimes looks like stepping aside and letting life teach what you cannot. You might wonder, how can one stay compassionate towards someone who has caused deep pain? The answer lies in understanding that forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. When you forgive, you don't condone their actions. You release their control over your emotions. Forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. It means freedom. You free yourself from the weight of resentment, because holding it only poisons you. You forgive not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Compassion also teaches patience, not with others, but with yourself. There will be days when you react, when you hold grudges, when your peace trembles, and that's okay. Growth is not a straight path, it's a spiral. You revisit lessons at deeper levels each time. What matters is that you return to awareness again and again. Each time you come back, your response becomes calmer, your detachment stronger, your compassion purer. There is an elegance in this way of living. It's a quiet strength that does not need to prove itself. When others shout, you listen. When they accuse, you breathe. When they attack, you smile, not mockingly, but knowingly. Because you understand something they do not. Peace is not given by others, it is created by you. Every situation is a chance to practice mastery. You begin to see that every reaction you suppress consciously becomes a drop of power added to your reservoir of peace. Every unnecessary argument you refuse becomes a lesson in restraint. Every step you take away from drama becomes a step closer to freedom. The peace you build inside starts to radiate outward, and the world responds differently. Toxic people either transform in your presence or remove themselves entirely. You do not need to push them away, your energy will do it naturally. When you respond instead of reacting, when you choose distance over conflict and compassion over resentment, you create an invisible force field around you. People feel it, they approach you differently. They sense they cannot shake you, cannot manipulate you, cannot invade your calm. That presence is rare, and the world respects it, even when it doesn't understand it. You become like still water, reflective, deep, and undisturbed. When others throw stones of negativity, you do not break, you ripple briefly, and then return to stillness. Your stillness becomes your statement. It says, I am not at war with anyone, because I have made peace with myself, and this peace is not fragile. It's resilient. It doesn't depend on the world being kind. It doesn't depend on others changing. It depends only on your awareness. The more you practice response over reaction, distance over drama, compassion over control, the stronger your awareness becomes. You start living from the inside out instead of from the outside in. Those who live outside in let circumstances dictate their mood. If people are kind, they're calm. If people are cruel, they're angry. But those who live inside out remain unshaken. They move through life like mountains among shifting clouds, steady, grounded, serene. The winds of others' emotions blow around them, but never through them. And when you live this way, something extraordinary happens. Peace becomes your default, not your reward. You no longer chase calm, you embody it. You no longer seek respect, you radiate it. You no longer fear toxic people, you see through them with quiet compassion. Because you know they are trapped in their own storms, while you have learned to stand in the eye of yours, unmoved, aware, and endlessly free. Non-attachment begins when you realize that clinging does not create safety. It creates suffering. The more you try to hold on to things, people, or outcomes, the more they slip through your grasp. Attachment comes from fear, fear of loss, fear of rejection, fear that without something or someone you are incomplete. But life was never designed to be owned. It was meant to be experienced. Everything that enters your path, every person, every opportunity, every challenge, is a guest. The pain begins when you mistake a guest for a permanent resident. When you can stand in the middle of change and remain whole, that is when freedom begins. Look at the trees in autumn. They do not fight the wind when it asks them to let go of their leaves. They release gracefully, knowing that letting go is not the end, it is renewal. You must learn to do the same. The things you lose are not punishments, they are transitions. The universe removes what no longer serves your growth, even when your mind screams to keep it. When you are attached, you suffer twice, once when life changes, and again when you resist that change. Non-attachment does not mean apathy. It is not a lack of care, it is the highest form of care. Because when you love without attachment, your love becomes pure. You stop loving to possess and start loving to understand. You stop doing to control and start doing because it feels aligned. You become present, unburdened by expectation. Many people love with conditions, and that is why their love hurts. But when you release the need to own, you give others the freedom to be themselves, and you give yourself the freedom to remain whole, no matter what happens. To live unattached is to trust the rhythm of life. You stop forcing doors that refuse to open. You stop chasing what keeps running away. You start allowing life to flow through you, knowing that what is meant to stay will stay without your struggle. There is great power in that trust. It transforms anxiety into acceptance. The more you let go, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the higher you rise. But letting go requires faith in yourself. It requires the courage to face uncertainty without grasping for control. You may lose people you thought you needed, opportunities you thought defined you, comforts you thought were permanent. Yet in every loss lies a revelation: you are always enough. The external world only mirrored what you forgot within yourself. Non-attachment strips away illusion until only truth remains. Then you begin to see how much of your suffering was self-created. Every argument, every disappointment, every betrayal that haunted you came not from the event itself, but from your refusal to release it. You replayed conversations, held on to grudges, carried invisible weights. And for what? The past cannot be changed. The future cannot be controlled. Only this breath is real. And when you live from that realization, you discover peace not as an idea, but as your natural state. To maintain that state, you need discipline. Self-discipline is not a cage, it is a compass. It does not confine your freedom, it protects it. The undisciplined mind is like an untamed river, powerful but destructive. It floods at the slightest storm. Discipline builds the banks that allow your power to flow in a direction that serves you. Every time you resist the urge to react, every time you choose patience over impulse, you strengthen those banks. Many people mistake discipline for punishment. They think it means denying pleasure or forcing control. But true discipline is not about restriction, it's about alignment. It is remembering what matters most and refusing to be pulled away by distractions. When you master discipline, you stop being a slave to emotions, cravings, and fears. You become the conductor of your energy. Imagine standing before someone who tries to provoke you. Without discipline, you react instantly. Their words enter you like arrows. With discipline, you pause, you breathe, You decide whether this moment deserves your peace. That single breath is the difference between chaos and control. Discipline is the bridge between emotion and wisdom. It allows you to feel everything yet be ruled by nothing. To develop discipline, you must train like a warrior trains his body. Each day presents small tests, a temptation to gossip, an urge to argue, a moment to complain. These are not ordinary moments. They are your dojo. Every time you choose silence over noise, gratitude over resentment, focus over distraction, you sharpen your mind. Discipline is not built in grand gestures. It's forged in the invisible choices you make when no one is watching. There will be days when your discipline wavers, when old habits whisper your name, when chaos tempts you to return. In those moments, remember this truth. You are always one breath away from returning to stillness. You do not need to start over. You simply need to remember. Discipline is not perfection, it's persistence. The one who returns again and again to awareness becomes unstoppable. Self-discipline is the foundation of self-respect. When you cannot keep promises to yourself, your inner strength weakens. When you keep them, even in small ways, you build trust within. That trust radiates outward. Others feel it. You no longer need to demand respect. Your presence commands it. Because people sense integrity, they can feel when your words and actions are one. That alignment is magnetic. Discipline also teaches you emotional economy. You learn that not every battle is worth your energy. You stop explaining yourself to those determined not to understand. You stop chasing what drains you. You conserve your power for creation, not confrontation. Each morning you decide, where will my energy flow today? That decision shapes your destiny more than any external circumstance. And then, once you master discipline, life reveals its next mirror. The people who disturb your peace are not enemies, they are teachers. They come to show you where you are still reactive, where your boundaries are weak, where your attachment still hides. This is the mirror principle. The outer world reflects your inner state. Every person you meet is a reflection of something within you, some part that seeks healing, acceptance, or understanding. When someone irritates you, it is not their fault alone. They are touching a wound you have not yet faced. The anger that rises is a messenger. If you listen, it tells you where your freedom lies. For example, if someone's arrogance enrages you, ask yourself why. Perhaps it mirrors a part of you that still feels unseen, still craves validation. The world is your mirror, and what you judge most harshly in others often reveals what you have not yet forgiven in yourself. This is not about blame. It's about awareness. Once you see the reflection clearly, you stop reacting to people and start learning from them. Every trigger becomes a teacher. Every conflict becomes an invitation to grow. When someone lies, it teaches you to trust your intuition. When someone betrays you, it teaches you the importance of self-reliance. When someone disrespects you, it teaches you how much self-respect you still need to cultivate. But the mirror principle is not only about pain, it also reflects beauty. When you meet kindness, it mirrors the kindness within you. When you encounter love, it reflects the love you are ready to embody. When someone inspires you, they awaken a potential that already exists inside. The world mirrors both your shadows and your light. The more aware you become, the more clearly you see both. Awareness through reflection is humbling. You realize that everyone you meet is a fragment of yourself, some showing what you have mastered, others showing what you must still face. This dissolves judgment. You stop labeling people as good or bad. You begin to see them as different expressions of the same consciousness, each carrying lessons wrapped in personality. You no longer ask, why are they like this? You ask, what are they showing me about me? To live with this understanding is to walk through life with grace. You stop fighting reflections. You stop breaking mirrors because you dislike what you see. Instead, you clean them. You look deeper. You take responsibility for your own vibration. And as your vibration rises, The mirrors you attract change. Suddenly, life feels gentler, not because people have changed, but because your energy has. Non-attachment frees you from clinging to the reflection. Discipline gives you the strength to look at it honestly. The mirror principle shows you what still needs work. Together, they create transformation. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start recognizing yourself as the creator of experience. You realize that the outer world rearranges itself according to your inner state. When you change within, everything around you shifts naturally. There is a moment in every person's journey when they finally understand nothing outside can truly disturb you unless something inside agrees with it. When that realization lands, reaction dies, attachment loosens, discipline deepens, and life becomes a practice of awareness. You begin to walk differently, lighter, calmer, yet infinitely more powerful. The wind still blows, people still misunderstand, challenges still appear, but you no longer resist them. You watch them pass through your field of awareness like clouds across a vast sky. You learn to let go as easily as you breathe. You discipline your mind as faithfully as you care for your body. You face every reflection not with fear, but with curiosity. And as you move through life this way, something extraordinary begins to unfold. Peace stops being something you chase. It becomes the ground you walk on. You stop asking the world to be gentle because you have become unshakable. The storms come, but they find nothing to uproot. You stand as a mountain in human form, rooted in discipline, free in detachment, and endlessly aware of the mirrors that surround you. In this state, respect is no longer a demand, it's a natural consequence. The world mirrors the calm you carry. Your energy commands stillness without force. Those who meet you sense it instantly. They lower their voices, they breathe deeper, they feel the invitation to match your peace. You don't preach balance, you embody it. And all of this begins in the silence between moments, the breath before reaction, the pause before attachment, the reflection before judgment. That is where transformation lives. That is where mastery begins. When the world around you begins to shake and emotions surge like waves crashing against the rocks of your mind, there exists one bridge back to peace, your breath. It is the oldest rhythm in the universe, the first sound of life that entered you when you were born, and the last whisper that will leave when you return to silence. Most people breathe only enough to survive. Very few breathe to awaken. To breathe through conflict is not to escape it, but to meet it with awareness. Each breath becomes a sword that cuts through illusion, a reminder that chaos cannot exist where consciousness is awake. In moments of tension, when anger rises or anxiety burns through the chest, the breath becomes shallow, rapid, uneven. The body prepares to defend itself. The mind prepares for battle. But when you consciously slow the breath, everything begins to change. Your pulse steadies, your muscles relax, and your mind starts to clear. You are no longer the storm. You are the observer watching it move across the horizon. This simple act is not weakness, it is mastery. The one who can remain present in breath while surrounded by conflict holds the power of 1,000 warriors who have mastered the sword but not themselves. The world teaches you to react fast, to speak, to act, to retaliate. But the breath teaches you patience. It whispers, wait, feel, see. The moment you inhale deeply during a confrontation, you reclaim your power from the person or situation that tried to steal it. That breath becomes your anchor, holding you steady while everything else moves. It is invisible strength, the kind that no one sees but everyone feels. Because when you breathe with awareness, your energy shifts. The energy around you shifts too. The atmosphere that once felt tense begins to calm, not because the situation changed, but because you did. Breathing through conflict is not just a technique. It is an art of remembrance. It reminds you that your inner world determines your outer experience. Every deep inhale draws wisdom from silence. Every exhale releases the poison of reaction. In that rhythm, you become balanced again. Your words slow down. Your voice softens. The sharp edges of your thoughts smooth themselves out. You begin to see clearly what anger had blurred. You no longer want to win the argument. You want to understand it. You no longer wish to dominate. You wish to dissolve misunderstanding. That is what it means to be awake amid chaos. Each conscious breath is like a drop of light entering darkness. If you can hold that awareness long enough, even the most toxic energy begins to lose its grip. You start to sense where the true battle lies, not between you and another person, but between your awareness and your impulses. The breath gives you the power to choose which side wins. The untrained mind reacts. The awakened one responds. The difference between the two is just one breath apart. When you start living this way, you begin to notice how your energy interacts with the world. You realize that peace is not something you find in silence or solitude. It's something you cultivate through awareness of your energy. Protecting your time and focus becomes an act of self-respect. Every person you give attention to, every thought you nurture, every word you speak, it all carries energy. And that energy either builds you or drains you. The wise do not waste it on noise. They invest it where it grows. Your time is the vessel of your life. What you fill it with becomes your experience of existence. If you constantly pour your energy into conflict, gossip, or worry, your inner world becomes a reflection of that chaos. But when you direct it toward purpose, stillness, and growth, your life begins to mirror peace. Protecting your focus is not selfish, it's sacred. Because where your focus goes, your power flows. And power scattered is potential wasted. The modern world competes for your attention like 1,000 hands pulling at your sleeves. Every screen, every notification, every distraction is designed to scatter your mind. If you allow it, you will find yourself constantly reacting, never creating. You will feel busy but empty, connected but lonely, active but directionless. To rise above this noise, you must choose silence with intention. Silence is not absence, it's presence without interruption. When you protect your silence, you protect your essence. Every morning, before you enter the rush of the world, take a moment to breathe and ask, where will my energy flow today? That single question is the compass of self-mastery. Without it, you move blindly through the day, reacting to the demands of others, forgetting the rhythm of your own purpose. But with awareness, you start to see time as your greatest ally. You choose who receives your energy. You choose which thoughts deserve your attention. You choose which emotions deserve expression. This is the quiet art of energetic discipline. When you guard your focus, life begins to feel lighter. You stop chasing what doesn't matter. You stop explaining yourself to those determined not to understand. You stop giving hours to people who don't value minutes. Every no becomes a door protecting your yes. Your energy is no longer diluted. It becomes concentrated, radiant, powerful. Those who once drained you will either rise to your level or disappear from your path. That is how energy works. It aligns or it departs. As your awareness deepens, you begin to notice that not all battles are fought outside of you. Some of the loudest wars happen inside. The war between your values and your habits, your truth and your fears, your peace and your distractions. To win this inner war, you must stay grounded in your values. Values are the roots that hold you steady when the winds of temptation and manipulation try to bend you. They are the compass that keeps you facing north when life spins you in circles. When your values are clear, decisions become simple, not easy, simple. The right path often requires courage, but clarity removes confusion. Toxic people lose their power over you because you no longer seek their approval. They cannot bribe or shame you into breaking your principles because your loyalty lies not with comfort, but with truth. When your values are firm, your boundaries strengthen without effort. You don't need to explain them. They are visible in the way you live. Values are not taught by words. They are revealed through choices. Every moment of challenge tests them. When someone tempts you to lie, do you choose integrity or convenience? When anger invites you to harm, do you choose restraint or reaction? When fear tells you to hide, do you choose courage or escape? These are the invisible battles that shape the strength of your spirit. Each victory, no matter how small, builds your foundation. The world often tries to seduce you away from your values with promises of success, attention, or comfort. But what is success without peace? What is attention without authenticity? What is comfort if it costs you your integrity? When you trade your values for approval, you buy emptiness disguised as satisfaction. The peace that comes from staying true to yourself cannot be purchased. It is earned one honest decision at a time. To stay grounded in your values, you must revisit them often. Reflect on what truly matters. What do you stand for when no one is watching? What kind of energy do you want to bring into every room you enter? What kind of legacy do you wish to leave behind? These questions anchor you when the noise of the world tries to drown out your inner voice. And yet, even the strongest values are tested most deeply in the presence of those who challenge them. When confronted with manipulation, deceit, or disrespect, your first instinct might be to fight fire with fire. But that is when you must return to your breath, to your focus, to your values. Because your reaction determines not who they are, but who you are. Your power is measured not by how loudly you speak, but by how consistently you live your truth. As you embody these principles, something remarkable begins to happen. You notice that the chaos around you doesn't vanish, but it no longer moves you. The same words that once hurt you now sound distant, as if they are spoken through water. The same provocations that once triggered anger now awaken compassion. You begin to see clearly. Every person who tries to disturb your peace is an invitation to deepen it. Each conflict becomes an opportunity to breathe. Each distraction becomes a reminder to refocus. Each temptation becomes a test of values. Life stops feeling like a battlefield and starts feeling like a meditation. You no longer chase calm, you live it. You no longer protect peace, you are peace. There is an ancient saying, the tree that bends with the wind does not break. When you live through your breath, protect your focus, and root yourself in your values, you become that tree. Flexible yet firm, soft yet unshakable. The storms will come, they always do, but you no longer fear them because you have learned to dance with the wind. In the middle of conflict, your breath becomes your rhythm. In the middle of noise, your focus becomes your melody. In the middle of deception, your values become your truth. And together, they form the symphony of inner mastery, the music of a mind that no longer seeks validation, a heart that no longer fears change, and a soul that no longer loses itself in chaos. The world will continue to spin. People will continue to project their pain. Situations will continue to test your calm. But when you have learned to breathe through it all, protect your energy, and stand firm in your values, nothing outside can pull you away from yourself. The storms become background noise to the steady rhythm of your awareness. You walk through life as both participant and observer, fully present yet untouched by the illusions of control. And as you walk this path, those around you will begin to feel it. They may not understand why your presence feels different, but they will notice the stillness that surrounds you. They will feel safer in your company, calmer in your silence, inspired by your composure. Because peace is contagious, it spreads without effort. You will become a living reminder that strength is not loud, and wisdom is not distant. It is simply the art of breathing deeply, focusing wisely, and standing firmly in what you know to be true. There is a kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't demand, and doesn't need to prove itself. It lives in stillness, in the quiet strength of presence. The less you say, the more the world listens. Not because your words are loud, but because your energy is clear. In a time where everyone rushes to speak, to argue, to be heard, silence has become the rarest form of confidence. The one who can stand in silence without fear has already mastered the storm inside. When your words are few, each one becomes sacred. They carry weight because they are born not from impulse but from awareness. Most people speak to escape silence, to fill the void of their own discomfort. But silence, when understood, is not emptiness. It is depth. It is the space where truth forms before it takes shape in words. The wise do not speak to impress, they speak to express clarity. And when clarity arrives, it doesn't need volume, it needs precision. Observe how the wind moves through a forest. It makes no announcement, yet everything feels its presence. That is the nature of true power. It does not need to declare itself. It simply exists, and everything around it adjusts. When you cultivate that kind of presence, you stop chasing influence because your being itself becomes influence. People sense it. They lower their voices around you. They listen more carefully. They adjust their rhythm to yours. You do not demand respect. It is drawn to you naturally. This doesn't mean you remain silent in the face of injustice or that you hide behind stillness. It means that when you speak, you do so with intention. Every word becomes an arrow aimed with precision, not a scatter of noise. When you can say one sentence that carries the power of truth, you accomplish more than 1,000 empty speeches. The great mistake many make is to believe that expression equals impact. But in reality, it is restraint that creates reverence. When people know that you speak only when necessary, your voice becomes a signal in a world of static. To live with minimal words and maximum presence, you must first learn to be comfortable with stillness. This stillness is not external, it is internal. It's the space between your thoughts, the pause before your reaction, the awareness that watches your emotions rise and fall without drowning in them. Most people fear stillness because it reflects what they've been running from, themselves. But when you face yourself long enough, the noise inside settles, and the world outside begins to mirror your calm. Stillness gives birth to understanding, and understanding gives birth to wisdom. From that wisdom flows compassion, not the naive kind that ignores harm, but the deep compassion that recognizes suffering in others without being consumed by it. To forgive internally is the natural outcome of such compassion. It is not an act of approval, it is an act of release. You forgive not because what happened was right, but because holding onto it keeps you chained to the very thing you wish to be free from. Forgiveness is not spoken, it is felt. It begins when you stop rehearsing the story of pain in your mind. Every time you replay a hurtful moment, your body relives it, your emotions feed it, and your energy remains tied to it. To forgive internally is to cut that invisible cord, to say, I no longer carry this. You do not need to announce it to the person who hurt you. You do not need to reconcile or pretend it never happened. You simply stop letting it define you. Some people believe that forgiveness means weakness or surrender, but it is the opposite. It takes immense strength to let go of a wound that once defined your identity. Anger can feel powerful, but it consumes. Forgiveness feels gentle, but it liberates. When you forgive, you reclaim energy that was frozen in resentment. That energy becomes available again for creation, for growth, for peace. It is not forgetting, it is remembering who you are without the weight of what they did. There is suspense in forgiveness because the mind resists it. It argues, if I forgive, they win. But the truth is, when you forgive, no one wins or loses. The game itself dissolves. You step out of the battlefield and back into the sky. Forgiveness is not about them. It's about you returning to your natural state of balance. Anger, hatred, and revenge. All of them are heavy. They require energy to sustain. Forgiveness is the moment you set that weight down and realize how light you can be. And when you release that weight, something beautiful happens. You begin to walk with grace. Grace is not a performance. It is not about politeness or perfection. It is the quiet elegance of someone who has mastered both strength and softness. Grace appears in the way you move, the way you respond, the way you exist. It is the art of walking through fire without letting it burn your heart. Walking with grace means you no longer need to prove your worth through confrontation. You no longer need to correct every lie or react to every insult. You let others play their games while you walk your path. You understand that truth doesn't need defense. It reveals itself in time. Grace allows you to hold your head high when others try to pull you down, not out of pride, but out of peace. Because you know that no one can lower your value unless you hand them the permission to do so. Grace is the fruit of awareness. It grows when silence, forgiveness, and strength intertwine. It cannot be faked, because it's not a surface behavior. It's a vibration that comes from deep alignment. When you walk with grace, you stop moving through life as if everything is a battle to be won. You start to move as if life itself is a meditation to be experienced. Even in the presence of hostility, your composure remains. You listen more, you react less, you speak gently, yet with conviction. You move deliberately, as though each step carries intention. There is something magnetic about a person who moves with grace. They do not rush, yet they are never late. They do not demand, yet things align for them. They do not resist life, they flow with it. Grace is fluidity in motion, like water that adapts to any container but never loses its essence. You can pour water into a cup, a river, or the ocean, and it remains itself. That is how you must move through life. Adaptable, but never lost. To walk with grace, you must let go of the need to control outcomes. Control is the illusion of fear, the belief that peace depends on things going your way. But grace understands that life doesn't always bend to desire, it bends to alignment. When your heart, mind, and actions are aligned with truth, even obstacles become paths. Grace does not resist the lesson hidden in adversity. It bows to it, learns from it, and transforms it into wisdom. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice grace. When someone misunderstands you, grace listens instead of defends. When life delays your plans, grace trusts the timing. When others gossip or judge, grace remains silent, knowing that dignity speaks loudest in quiet composure. This silence is not passive, it is powerful. It says, I know my worth, and I do not need to prove it through noise. The presence of grace also changes the way you view others. You start seeing beyond their behavior into their suffering. You understand that toxic people are often prisoners of their own wounds. You do not excuse their actions, but you recognize their blindness. And in that recognition, judgment begins to dissolve. This doesn't mean you let them close again. It means you release the need for revenge. You stop wishing for their downfall because you realize that everyone's journey is guided by consequence. Grace is trusting that the universe delivers justice in ways you cannot always see. There is a particular beauty in restraint, the decision to stay calm when every emotion urges you to explode. That is grace in its purest form. It is the unseen discipline that transforms pain into presence. Grace doesn't mean you avoid confrontation. It means you confront it without losing your balance. You can still set boundaries, speak truth, and take action, but you do so from centeredness, not chaos. You can look someone in the eyes and say, no more, without anger, without hate, without fear. That is the posture of someone who has found freedom within.